All right, so if you're a fan of the Derwilla mythos, you know that the 2026 expansion is a huge deal. And today, we are diving deep into what might be the biggest game changer yet, this absolutely fascinating new character, the Twilight Moon King.
And this quote, wow, it just cuts right to the chase, doesn't it? This isn't your typical hero or villain. Forget that. The lore literally calls him a metaphysical wild card. What does that mean? It means he doesn't care about good or evil. He's listening for something much bigger. Which side's very idea of reality is the most convincing? Okay, so what is this guy, really? The term they use is liminal sovereign, and liminal is the perfect word here. It means being on a threshold, right in the middle of two things. And that's him. He was born, get this, from the metaphysical collision of two total opposites, the silent cold moon and a raging fiery volcano. I mean, his entire being is one giant walking contradiction.
So, you gotta be asking, how in the world does something like that even happen? Well, his origin story is called The Birth of Silver Ruin, and trust me, it's as epic as it sounds. Let's get into it.
Okay, so try to imagine this scene. Or in Naples, it's the Carnival of Skulls, so things are already wild, just a total frenzy. Then, right over Mount Vesuvius, a massive eclipse blots out the sun. But, and this is key, this isn't just some astronomical event. The air is crackling with something else. Something supernatural is about to go down. And the detail here is just incredible. The whole thing happens in a window of just 3 minutes. So the carnival hits its peak, and boom, the semiotic blackout starts. Now, this isn't just the moon's shadow. It's way weirder. It's like the fundamental idea of the volcano, its raw essence, crashed head-on into the physical presence of the moon. And that spiritual collision ripped a hole straight through reality, through the realm of Geist itself. And from that hole, he arrives. And that really drives home what this semiotic blackout actually is. Forget astronomy class. This is pure metaphysics. For 3 minutes, reality itself kind of glitched. It couldn't tell the difference between the cold, dead energy of the moon and the raw, violent power of Vesuvius. And in that one moment of pure, perfected nullity, a door just swung wide open. So how does he show up? It's not a spaceship. He doesn't teleport. No, he phases into existence, right out of the middle of that black sun. And his body, it isn't even stable. It's constantly shifting, oscillating between what the lore calls the inky blight of the abyss and the weightless silver of the grave. You know, he is, for all intents and purposes, made of the eclipse itself. It's wild. But here's the kicker, and this is so important. This wasn't some random event. He wasn't just pulled through. He was waiting out there in this weird dimension called the underspace of the moon. He needed the Red Architect, the main guy for Derwilla, to basically churn up enough chaos and energy on Earth to create a landing pad for him. Okay, wow, so that's one heck of an entrance. But now let's shift a little bit. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. Let's pull up his profile and really break down his powers, his abilities, what the different factions are actually up against here. So right off the bat, you get a sense of who he is. His official classification is liminal sovereign, but also alchemist of the eclipse, which sounds amazing. And check this out, his aura is a weapon. He gives off this cold light that messes with what the lore calls the Fishtian grip. Now, that's a really cool way of saying it attacks your very sense of self. It makes you feel disconnected from yourself, like your eye is just floating away. Now let's talk about his actual weapon, the Blight. And this thing was a gift from Azazel, so you know it's bad news. It's not a physical weapon at all. It's more like a metaphysical virus. It doesn't kill you, it stains you. It's this bizarre form of reverse alchemy that takes your ego, your confidence, your rationality, the golden ego, and just twists it. It turns it into what's called silver shadow matter, basically severing you from your own reason. I mean, how terrifying is that? And just when you think he couldn't get any more overpowered, there's his defense. The guy is practically untouchable. Because he was born from that eclipse, he's always kind of phasing in and out of reality, just like the moon waxes and wanes. The only way to actually hit him, you'd have to sync your own willpower to the exact metaphysical frequency of the eclipse that made him. Yeah, good luck with that. So we have this unbelievably powerful entity just standing on the battlefield. And this is where it all comes together. This is the heart of his story. He's faced with a choice, a single decision that is going to literally define the future of this entire world. And this really is the central question of his entire character, isn't it? Who can win him over? You've got the two big players, Derwille, the faction that wants to build and create, and Cynos, the faction that wants to tear it all down. And he's listening to both. But again, he doesn't care who's good or bad. He's judging their language, their ontosyntax. Basically, he's just asking, whose story about what reality should be is better? And here are the two options, plain and simple. If he joins up with Derwille, the Yes team, he takes on the title Architect of Shadows. His job would be to give their new reality the metaphysical weight, the depth it needs to actually feel real. But if he sides with Cynos, the No team, he becomes the Finisher, and he'd use the Blight to just corrode humanity's reason until everyone willingly walks into the Silent City and accepts nothingness. The stakes could not be higher.
So what's he doing right now in the story? Well, he hasn't picked a side. Not yet. For now, he's just watching. He's positioned himself as the ultimate judge in this war for the soul of reality. And this is the image we're left with. He's sitting on a throne made of obsidian, right at the edge of the Vesuvius crater where he first appeared. And as he watches the war rage on, there's no anger, no hatred, just cold, clinical curiosity, like an alchemist watching two different formulas bubble away. To him, Derwille and Cynos are just two unfinished paintings. So what is he waiting for exactly? He's waiting for a winner. As the judge of what comes next, the synthesis, he needs one side to prove that their idea, their language, is strong enough, not just to win, but to house a king like him. He's going to throw all his reality-bending power behind whichever worldview is powerful enough to contain him. And that leaves us with this final, chilling image. As this weird Atman-Null mist starts creeping across the battlefield, the king opens his vial of the Blight, and he whispers this question to the ash. It's the question he's asking everyone, and maybe even himself. Is the future going to be one of fire and creation, or will it be a permanent stain of nothingness? And whatever he decides, well, that's going to be the answer for everybody.